Hello, delegates. I am Maureen, and I was honored to be elected the founding president of the Florida Education Association. I come from Broward County, and kudos to Broward and Alachua counties for leading the parade to show that student safety is important. I taught history and math at the K-12 and a community college level, and I served on the Broward School Board as well. I was a very proud leader in the Broward Teachers Union and also at Broward College in United Faculty of Florida, and then in FTP, which was the Florida Teaching Profession, one of the two unions in the state at that time. As a leader, I was fortunate to be part of several merger committees. It instructed me that I needed to advocate for merger. Many members and leaders would be involved in putting the merger together and putting it across. One strong, unified organization was their goal. FEA United and FTP challenged one another, competed to be the bargaining unit in our locals throughout the state. And many times this competition was bitter indeed. But we finally realized that it was time to stop spending money and time and effort fighting one another. It was time to be the advocate for all Florida teachers and students, school staff professionals, and also higher ed. But merger is not just about putting two groups together. It was all about unity. Unity was our goal. Unity was important then, and unity is important now. But merger wasn't easy. Competition had left battle scars and bad relations between members, leaders, and professional staff. We faced a state legislature and a governor who would abolish or eliminate public education and remove certainly any education union. We needed unity, not division, in order to handle this circumstance. You know, it was said at the time that we were building a new house in the midst of a hurricane. And that's exactly true. So what did we do? How did we unify? Well, we held many state meetings, local meetings. We met with all kinds of members throughout the state, whether they were from one level or another. And we especially centered on visits to locals because we wanted to talk to members. We wanted to explain to them because, you know, this was their union. And we wanted to make sure that they saw their ideas reflected. There were frank discussions about what compromises would consist of. And remember, in order to communicate, there was no social media at that time. And in fact, emails and faxes were relatively new. We had to rely on the advocate. We had to rely on news items in the paper. But those personal visits really were something that were vital. We had to be wary and not allow politicians and business interests to stop us because they opposed merger. In 2000, at the FEA Delegate Assembly, the delegates voted to approve merger. It was unity at last. You know, they said it would snow in Florida before the merger took place. Well, we used that as a symbol. An artificial snow cascaded down all across the stage and the first part of the auditorium. Now the hard work would begin. And now putting together what was on paper would take place. When I left office as FEA president in 2003, there were about 120,000 members. Today, there are over 150,000. You must be doing something right. We are one strong, unified organization. Our leadership, look at your leadership. Your president from the K-12 area, your vice president, an education staff professional, your secretary-treasurer from higher ed. You cover the waterfront. You represent all our members. And one thing that's very important, now when education is discussed in Florida, FEA is consulted or informed or has a seat at the table. And we never had that before. FEA members, now the ball is in your court. The future is yours. You'll have problems for sure. You'll need corrections and changes as you go along. But you have a state legislature, again, and a governor who would very easily abolish public education and do away with FEA in a heartbeat. So you have to keep your mind on your purpose. You have to realize that you're here to represent your members and to represent your students. And if you do that, then you will succeed. Representing these people in a unified fashion is absolutely necessary. Thank you for having me here today. You have my good wishes and my admiration.